her party. Let's bring in Nile Gardiner, director of the Margaret Thatcher Center for Freedom at the Heritage Foundation. Thank you for joining us this morning. So she's putting out a big warning there to those who want her out and what the implications are for the future of Brexit. What would the fallout be if she is voted out?
Well, if Theresa May is voted out, there will be a leadership contest within the Conservative Party, and you'll see a new Conservative Prime Minister coming in January. So this doesn't mean that the government will collapse at all. This just means that there would be a new leader of the Conservative Party who would then lead Britain into the Brexit era. And I think that certainly there's growing disenchantment with Theresa May's leadership within the Conservative Party. She is seen as extremely weak-kneed in her negotiations with the European Union. And after all, Theresa May is no Margaret Thatcher. She has cowered before the EU in the EU Brexit negotiations. And many Conservatives feel that Theresa May is far too weak a leader to take Britain down the path towards Brexit. So hence this no confidence vote this evening. It's
fascinating to watch this all play out. And pro-Brexit lawmakers put out this joint statement saying that in the national interest, May must go. They are making the case that her plan fails to deliver on the clean break from the EU that they want. How do they see that? How does it break from that?
Right, so Theresa May's proposed Brexit deal that she's negotiated with the European Union is a very, very weak agreement. Basically, the agreement means that Britain will be kept inside the EU customs union indefinitely, which means that Britain cannot sign its own free trade agreements. Britain will be subject to rulings of the European Court of Justice. Britain will, in effect, be a satellite of the European Union. And so many Brexiteers within the Conservative Party have said enough is enough. Theresa May cannot lead Britain any longer. And without a doubt, I think this is a very disastrous deal that she has negotiated. There's absolutely no prospect whatsoever that she will get this deal through Parliament. And I think the only course forward now for Britain really is to move towards a no-deal Brexit. But certainly, you know, Theresa May's leadership has been incredibly poor. And I think the mood within the Conservative Party is that, you know, Theresa May has had 2 years to negotiate this deal with the European Union. She has failed miserably, and she has been bullied by the EU. And this is an unacceptable state of affairs.
Well, you're certainly seeing a lot of that uncertainty play out. We'll see where all of that goes with that next vote about to happen. Now I want to turn to the latest on this France terrorist attack and the manhunt that is currently underway at this hour, as we learn from witnesses at the scene of that Christmas market there that this person entered yelling Allahu Akbar, of Arabic for God is great. What can you tell us about the latest that we are learning there as that manhunt continues?
Well, of course, a huge manhunt taking place in the area surrounding Strasbourg. We do know that this individual is a French national of Moroccan descent who was radicalized in prison. He was convicted no less than 27 times for crimes across, you know, Germany, France, Switzerland. He was on a terror watch list, and yet he was still allowed to roam the streets. So I think that this is another political crisis for Emmanuel Macron following weeks of huge street protests, and this will certainly add to the pressure on his presidency. But without a doubt, I mean, this is a reflection of the fact that Islamist terrorism in Europe remains a huge threat. And this individual should not have been allowed to walk the streets of Strasbourg or any French city. So a real failure on the part of the French administration. This also, I think, you know, emphasizes the point that, you know, France and European countries need more secure borders. They need tougher measures against Islamist extremists. After all, there are tens of thousands of Islamist militants operating in France alone. And so this latest terror attack, I think, will significantly increase the pressure on Emmanuel Macron and his presidency at this time.
We know the president here in the United States using this as an opportunity. This is why we need border security, and his reason for more border security. He's been tweeting about it this morning. 2 killed, many more wounded. We continue to learn more. Manhunt underway. Nile Gardiner, thank you for joining us this morning.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
About 9:30 in New York is Michael Cohen going